one thing on these T1N sprinters, this here is a 04 Dodge Freightliner Sprinter. One thing that tends to happen is the window will come off of the little track that's inside here, and then when you hit the up and down button, the window doesn't go up and down. So one thing that I'm going to do here today is we're going to replace that with a brass piece. From the factory they came with a plastic piece, which usually doesn't hold up. I mean, this one's almost 16 years old now, so I guess it's understandable that a plastic piece would fail by now. So I'm going to go through the steps here of taking the door paneling off, getting the motor out, replacing it with the brass piece, putting it all back together, and I'm also going to remove the window tint that's on here, because when it failed, it actually scratched the tint and it looks pretty bad. So we're going to go through that process and see how we can get it looking better. First thing you got to do here is pop this door hinge apart. You just got to wedge a screwdriver in there and work it in slowly, trying not to scratch the deal. And eventually pops out. And then once you do that, there's a screw in here that will come out. You can also pop this piece out. So a little closer look here. There's a screw right there and a screw right there that have to come out. And you also have to unplug the window motor from this in order to get it to go through the panel. It's really helpful to have a magnetic tip on the end of your gun there to pull the screw out of that hole so you don't drop it and lose it. The other thing that you have to do to get the door off, I don't know if you can see it in the video, is to open up the little storage panel down at the bottom, because the two clips there actually hold the door as well. Pop this little guy off right there so it can come up. Now everything will come up and then out. Twist this, and the door locking mechanism is attached, so we'll leave that right there for now. And gotta start the van up and actuate the window motor down so we can get it out of the way, and we'll keep going here. So the next step here, we gotta take this wiring harness out. So we'll pull it out of the little clips. First we unplug the motor and pull the little clips out. Just kind of pop out. And they take this wiring harness here, which you just kind of tear. And now the motor assembly is ready to come out. And make sure you have your window held up by something, because when you take this off, there'll be a lot of pressure, and sometimes the glass will just go straight through the bottom and break. So I've got mine taped up, because the day that the motor failed, of course, it was raining, so I had to get the window shut. So now you can see the little plastic piece that split in half that we're going to replace with the brass piece. So now we got to grind this little, I guess it would be similar to the way a rivet works out, so we can put in the new piece. So I just got a side grinder here with some with a flapper disc on it, and hopefully it'll take this little piece off and it'll fall right out. a slider to install here that replaces this little piece. It's got just the right amount of shoulder on it where that stays free spinning even once this has been tightened down. So that's nice and tight. That spins freely. And it looks like she's ready to go back in the van. So now we gotta take the window tin off here. I got it pulled up far enough where I can put the window back together and then roll it down so I can get it all the way around the top. And I'm going to take some acetone and get all the adhesive off. Alright, now we got that taken down enough where we can put it all back together and take the rest of it off once the window mechanism is put back together. So, now what we've got to do is take the window mechanism, put it back in, but at that same time we've also got to line up the slider inside the little track so that the window will go up and down with the new piece installed. So we've got our window motor unit here. I actuated the slider all the way up so I can slide it into this piece and it looks like it needs to move slightly for the holes to line up. Shouldn't be an issue. Just plug it back in. That looks like it lines up pretty well. Should see oh, there goes all the window tint. Now we got a smooth actuating window. So the next step is we need to retape all of our electrical back up so it doesn't get caught up in the window motor. This clip actually goes under this door lock so that it doesn't put it in a bind, but boy, it really doesn't want to go in there. So, looks like that's all locked in. it just slides back into the same slots that it came out of. Run your 2 screws in. They don't need to be too terribly tight. Next step here, stick our window motor back on, or it's actually the control switch for the window. That kind of sits down in like that. Door handle, it's got 2 prongs on this end. That's why I started from this end when I took it apart. If you start from this end, it will go, but you run the risk of breaking these 2 tabs right here. So get it back together like this, and then just pops right into place. And then here's the other half of the slider. Close your storage compartment in the bottom, and this piece is the last piece that needs to go back on. I'm going to keep it off for now because I've got to clean all this window to get the sticky film off that the tint was put on with. So now begins the long, tedious task of cleaning all of the film sticky adhesive off of the window. So it looks like we've got the motor installed, and let's see how it works. Sounds like there's a little hitch at the bottom, which is probably because of that the screw sticking out of the back of the piece that we put in. I think it's a little bit long. It could stand to be a couple threads shorter, so sounds like it might be getting hung up at the very bottom, but it seems like the motor has enough power to overcome it. More than likely it'll wear in the more you use the window. Looks like it's complete.